After finally hitting the range lows that we expected, Bitcoin just got a significant bounce. In today's video, we'll be talking about whether or not this is just a relief rally or if we can still see some continued upside. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So first of all, as per yesterday's video, Bitcoin got a very nice bounce from this key level. Now you might be thinking, well, we broke below the range. How are we popping right back up? That is because Bitcoin got a very nice bounce from its previous all-time high, which we have seen many times before. Let me just remind you, if you missed yesterday's video, usually when Bitcoin taps into these previous all-time highs, we can get some significant bounces. For example, when we had the tariff war and all of this tariff nonsense was exploding across the timeline, we had a major bounce for Bitcoin. We set that low right around 74,000, which I'll remind you was the previous all-time high set in 2024, and we got a massive bounce to brand new all-time highs at around $123,000. Now, since hitting around 123K, we came back down and we tested the previous all-time high, which is now currently holding as support. But as I'm recording this video, you can see that on the 4-hour time frame, it looks like we are about to wick out. We had a pretty significant pump up to around 115.7K. Now the question is, will we be moving higher from here? Because there is still a lot of liquidity to the upside, but this could just be a relief rally, a dead cat bounce, before we go ahead and move lower, as so many analysts are calling. Just wanted to show you that I did take part in some trades, as I've been discussing on the channel. Currently, my Bitcoin trade is sitting at around a $5,000 profit, and we also entered a cheeky altcoin short, which, if you're in my community, you know exactly what I've been shorting, sitting currently at a $12,000 profit. Now, if you want to access all of the trades that I provide regularly, all you have to do is click the first link in my description down below. It allows you to DM me the word premium on Telegram, and I would be happy to onboard you into my free premium group. The only requirement there is that you sign up with one of my affiliate exchange links, and then you can go ahead and trade as you normally would, and you get free access to my own personal trades as well as the trades of some of my analysts. Just thought I'd share that. DM me the word premium on Telegram and you get access to all of my live trades. And if I scroll up here, you can see that in yesterday's video, we were sitting above $114,000. And now as I'm recording this video, Bitcoin is sitting only $400 higher than yesterday's video after wicking out to around 115.7K. But let's zoom out a little bit further. On the 12-hour time frame, you can see that we did reclaim these key levels. This previous wick over here that allowed us to get the fuel to go all the way up to around 123K is what currently is holding as support for Bitcoin. We came back above the range lows, held it as support, and right now, if I zoom in, we are trying to hold this key level as support on the 12-hour time frame. But as I said, on the 4-hour time frame, this is now starting to become a red candle. So what is next for Bitcoin? There is always the chance that we can come back lower and retest before we move higher. But right now, my base case is actually that I still think Bitcoin could be moving higher, even if this is just a relief rally, mainly because of the liquidity. We can see that when we had this move to the downside, everyone went aggressively short. And now there is around 18 billion worth of cumulative short liquidation leverage. And comparatively, for the longs, there is only around 11 billion worth of cumulative long liquidation leverage. Also, if we take a look at this liquidation heat map, which a lot of people like talking about, on the 1-week time frame, even on the 2-week time frame here, we can see that there is way more liquidity to the upside. Look at all of this liquidity piling up right around $120,000. So while the move to 120K may not be immediate, I am still favoring that we will likely go higher into that region. So taking a look at the Bitcoin price action, could we come back lower and retest these trend lines or even the previous all-time high once more? Yes, it is possible. However, my base case here is still up. Now, what is the level that I'm looking at to consider whether or not Bitcoin would be making a new all-time high? To be honest, if we can make it all the way up to around 117K, right around this point of control, just below $118,000, at that point, we start holding that level as support again, and I would be saying that Bitcoin would likely be making a brand new all-time high, surpassing $123,000. However, if we start rejecting here, then obviously at that point, things will not be looking good. I just don't want to see us get multiple daily closes back below the previous all-time high. I know it may seem overly simplistic, but ultimately this has allowed me to yield some significant profits in this market when everyone is freaking out. This was the most likely scenario for us to get a significant bounce, which we just did. So let's see what happens. Is Bitcoin going to come back down, or are we just going to test this trend line ever so slightly and then get another bounce higher? Right now, I'm still banking on a little bit of a higher bounce. Let's see what happens. No one has a crystal ball, as I always say, but so far we are still in this same range that we've been covering on the channel for weeks. Typically, when we make our way to the bottom of the range, it's an opportunity to long, and when we make our way to the top of the range, it's an opportunity to short. That's what I've been saying on the channel at length. Something else, we'll talk about altcoins again, but you can see that the bleed continues to Ethereum. There's no point in holding an altcoin if it can't at least outperform Ethereum. And that's why I've been saying I've been limiting my exposure to the altcoin market to ETH, because ETH is literally outperforming 99% of the altcoin market. You can see here that this is the others chart versus Ethereum, and we just keep on bleeding a massive downtrend on the weekly time frame, mind you. So you can see that this looks like it's going to continue lower, and ultimately we do have some pretty significant lows that we may be able to tap into, perhaps 0.5 over here, but so far on the longer time frames, it doesn't seem like many other cryptocurrencies are outperforming ETH. And for Bitcoin, regardless of if we tap into lower levels before we potentially move higher, something I really want you to pay attention to is that the USDC exchange inflow hit $826 million in the last hour as I'm recording this video. So you can see that this is a massive spike, potentially suggesting that more stable coins are coming in and going to be buying our bags. Let's see what happens here, but this is a pretty significant spike that you can see on the last 1 hour time frame. This is not something that you should be fading, in my opinion. And we do have, again, talking about last week's job reports, which spooked the market out. Trump came out and said essentially that the report was rigged, of course, just like numbers prior to presidential elections were rigged. He also came out and said that he will be substantially raising the tariff paid by India to the USA, and we of course have continued tariff nonsense. As you can see here, Indian government on US increasing tariffs. The targeting of India is unjustified and unreasonable. Then we have the India Foreign Ministry spokesperson that says that they will take all necessary measures to safeguard its national interest. And in terms of Brazil, their labor minister came out and said that they're going to announce tariffs in response to the US from August 6th onward. So it's very clear that there are still no proper resolutions for all of the tariffs. We'll have to see how this develops. Something else I wanted to show you once again, we know that post-halving August is typically a green month for Bitcoin. So we'll have to see what happens here. Can we have another dip? In my opinion, I think we will be having another aggressive dip, but I just don't think that it will be happening right now. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because of my Bitcoin long, but you can see here that all of the liquidity is still piled up to the upside with shorts piling into the market as we speak. And this was a very quick video because nothing has changed since yesterday, but right now you can see that Bitcoin is still back in this range. I will make sure to keep you updated as things play out. And remember, if you want access to my own personal trades, you have that first link in my description down below. Make sure to DM me on Telegram and I will be happy to get back to you. And that sums up today's very quick video. Bitcoin is still in the range, but we got a nice bounce from the previous all-time high. Ultimately, I'm still monitoring that level. I don't want to see us get multiple daily closes below the previous all-time high around $112,000. And as I showed you on the chart, we did wick below it, but we bounced right back up. Let's see how much further this bounce can go, or if this is the end of the relief rally. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.